Chainsaw Man is back again this week with a terrifying follow-up to this new mystery devil we were introduced to in chapter 122. With long, grotesque arms, she rips off the head of an unfortunate victim in order to turn into Jon Favreau in his hit 2014 movie Chef.
Have you seen a chef? Please! Please!
I'm not gonna lie to you guys right now, I have no f***ing clue where to start after reading this chapter, but seeing as it's my job to review new Chainsaw Man chapters, I'm gonna have to give it the good old college try. But before we jump in, remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of content. My end of the year subscriber goal is 5,000, but I'm already pretty close to that, so if everyone watching this video subscribes right now, I'll probably have to start thinking about bigger numbers. Thank you guys so much for your support. Now it's time we answer the great question, what was Tatsuki Fujimoto cooking in Chainsaw Man chapter 123? I really wasn't sure what to think last week when we were introduced to the second ever primordial fear in the Chainsaw Man manga, but it certainly wasn't the Falling Devil. I always thought that a good candidate for primordial fear would be the Heights Devil, but now I think about it a little more, there are plenty of people all over the world who don't really have a problem with heights. However, I have yet to see a single person not shout, "Oh shit," when they trip over a curb or fall off their bike. So seeing as the fear of falling isn't really something you can control as a human, it makes a lot more sense that this is a primordial fear. I know a lot of people, myself included, were thinking that this could be the suicide devil or the fear of the unknown devil or even the death devil himself, but this was solely based off of seeing her powerful ability to make people kill themselves last chapter. I don't know, I guess I was focusing more on the complex act of suicide rather than the simple act of falling itself. And this is part of what makes Chainsaw Man so great. We were sitting here thinking it was going to be some huge, profound fear that we'd have to dig deep into human history to find out about, but nope, this is the personified version of the girlish shriek I let out when I slipped on a patch of ice back in January. This is classic Fujimoto subversion of expectations. Now as for the Falling Devil's powers, seeing that she's a primordial fear, she can probably do some crazy shit on the same level as the Darkness Devil. We've seen she can amplify human trauma by clapping her hands, and I'm assuming that people who have gone through more shit in their lives are probably more susceptible victims to her power. So those who are happier in their lives are probably not as strongly affected by her powers, whereas those who are miserable, well, their day probably just got a lot worse. Looking at the page where only a few people out of the crowd were cast up through portals into hell is part of what makes me think this is the case. It looked like it was mostly salarymen and office ladies that were sucked up into the sky on this page. And anyone that knows anything about Japan can tell you that office ladies and salarymen are some of the most miserable and overworked people in existence. I'm certain being a primordial fear, she probably has other powers that can wipe out scores of innocent people as well. Because having a power that's essentially an insta-kill for miserable people isn't quite on par with the Darkness Devil soloing a dozen trained devil hunters. And whatever her other powers may be, I am terrified for Asa and Denji whenever he shows up to fight her. Someone mentioned on stream last night that it'd be cool if Yoru, Denji, and Yoshida all show up and have to work together in order to defeat this powerful new devil. And I feel like that would be the ultimate MCU team-up for the Chainsaw Man universe. Now as for why the Falling Devil showed up on Earth when the primordial devils are all so powerful they've never experienced death before, we still don't really know. However, after hearing about the Nostradamus prophecy in last chapter and seeing that the Falling Devil is visiting on request from the residents of Hell, it seems like she could potentially be the Devil's messenger to announce a war between Hell and Earth in order to bring upon the apocalypse. We can't really say for sure, but after reading all of the digging Chainsaw Man fans have done into the Nostradamus prophecy, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the case. I'm definitely probably gonna have another video on the Nostradamus prophecy out tomorrow or the next day, so I can go more into detail on that later. Now as for what happened to Asa this chapter, we got another look into her past and just how awful her life has been. After losing her parents to the Typhoon Devil, she's sent to an orphanage where the lady that runs the orphanage kills her cat companion. She was like, if we can't have a family, you can't have a family. I just realized now that the cat Asa had was probably the same one that she saved when her mother died, making this situation even more fucked up. I think it's pretty fair to say that Asa has suffered more than any other Chainsaw Man character. Sure, other characters have lost their families like Aki, but unlike Aki, who was hell-bent on getting revenge, all Asa wanted was to live a normal life. But she still finds herself at the center of all this violence that she wants nothing to do with. You know what? I'll take the heat for saying this. Asa suffered more than Aki. A side note I was thinking about though was when Yoru said only Asa can make powerful weapons. I started to think, What if Asa could turn precious memories into weapons? Like my mother taking me to my first baseball game sword or something like that. I was thinking that that could potentially be an out to this whole debacle, seeing as Asa doesn't really have anything she can turn into a weapon on hand. I don't know, I think I'm cooking with that one. However, we won't know for at least another 2 weeks because unfortunately Chainsaw Man is on break next Tuesday. But if you simply need more Chainsaw Man between now and then, why don't you check out the video where I made Denji's gross bread from the Chainsaw Man anime that's appearing on your screen right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to vote in my chapter GPA poll that I have at the top of the description down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye now.